Hey everyone, it's Rob Folia and Jessica Klein with Folia Properties at Keller Williams Realty here in Nashville. And today we're going to talk with you about how and when to start the home buying process. I know it's kind of can be kind of a complicated situation if you're renting and looking to buy, or maybe you own a home and you're looking to make a move and you need to sell your home in order to buy your next home. And so we're going to talk about the home buying process today, take it from start to finish and go from there. You ready to jump in, Jessica?
Yeah, this is a great topic, and there are so many moving pieces. It can be difficult to wrap your head around it, especially if you're not doing it every day like we are. So I think this is going to be a great topic to share with everybody.
Awesome. So, well, let's get started. What we've done basically is we've just laid out a couple of the very basic steps, or we're kind of like I guess maybe the milestones, so to speak. If you're renting, then we'll get into if you own your own home as well and you're needing to resell. And so, let's just say hypothetically, you're renting a home or renting an apartment, and maybe your lease is up. Let's just say March 31st. And we'll say 2021 since it's December of 2020 right now. And so let's just say your lease is up in about 3.5, 4 months or so from now. I mean, Jessica, you recently bought a home, and in fact, you told me you said it was nice having a little bit of time in between when y'all closed on your home and when like you had to be out of your apartment, your condo, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And some people may, especially if you're hiring a moving company or whatever, it could be ideal for you to close on the same day or whatever. But for us, it was really nice to have that week.
So a week's probably a good time for most because that also, if you're renting an apartment, renting a house, if you got to clean it up for your landlord, whatever the case may
Mhm.
be, it's gives you time to do all that as well. I'm just going to put in, let's just say March 20th. Like say your ideal move-in date is going to be, so really your ideal closing date it would be March
Right.
20th. So about 10 days, 11 days there to get into to move into your new home. Well, on average, we're seeing it takes about 30 to 40 days to close on a financed purchase right now. It depends on the loan, depends on the
Mhm.
lender as well. Most of our great lenders that we partner with can get something done in 30 days, no issue. But again, depends on the loan. If you're getting a USDA loan, a THDA loan, those can be a little bit longer. Every lender has a slightly different process too. So I think budgeting so you're not stressed and you give yourself a little leeway in case you're a day or two late getting documents in. Budgeting 40 to 45 days is probably a good estimate. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, it if you want zero chance, especially, if you do end up having your closing day on the same day your lease ends, budgeting that 45 days is really key because then if something does get a little bit delayed or something's out of your control, then there's no hiccup there.
And so I'm not looking at a calendar right now, but I'm going to assume 45 days is from March 20th is about what, February 5th, something like that. Does that sound right?
Sure.
All right. So
Yeah.
basically, working backward, if your lease is up by March 31st and your ideal move-in date is March 20th, well, and in fact, let me put March 20th, 2021, in case anybody's watching this and well, it didn't work. Anyway, it doesn't matter. March 20th, it takes about 45 days to close. You need to have your house lined up, be under contract by February 5th. Now, what we're seeing right now, because we're in such a strong seller's market, that it's taken a little bit longer to find the right home than normal. It used to be we would go out and when I say used to be, it's a balanced market, or maybe just like a slightly skewed towards sellers, but still pretty close to balanced market. It used to be we could get out there and easily within 7 to 10 days find you the right home if
Mhm.
we're motivated. Meaning we can get out there, look at 2 to 3 homes, then if none of those work, we get out there again, look at 2 to 3 more homes, and we really start to narrow the process down. And all that can happen in a week to 2 weeks if everybody's ready to make that happen. When we're in a low inventory market like we're in today, it can be longer than that. Sometimes we only have 1 or 2 homes to look at, and if neither of those work, or maybe one does, and we get beaten out by some cash offer. I mean, let's just face it; those things happen. Those are the realities of it. It can take a while, and so I'm going to estimate for most people, it's right now taking us about 30 to 45 days to find the right home. Let's just say 45 days. Does that sound good? Or is
Yeah,
that you?
sure.
Is that too
Yeah,
conservative?
a- and I think that the way we're estimating these is good, giving that longer time frame because even if you do rush through these steps and you find the perfect home and it's all smooth sailing before then, we can always adjust in the contract what those dates look like and we have flexibility there. So yeah, budgeting more time is always better.
Exactly. And so about 45 days from that February 5th timeline, I mean, gosh, that puts us probably around December 20th, right? I mean, if I'm doing the quick calendar math in my head, not 2021,
Yeah.
2020. And so, you'd want to start looking around December 20th of 2020. And so that means like we're getting out there to look at the very first home a little more than 3 months, before your target date is to move. And one of the reasons why it's powerful to do it that way, like let's just say hypothetically, we went out on December 20th, the first home that we walked into, you loved, and you wanted to move forward on it. Well, we could easily write that with a 45 or even a 60-day close in the middle or toward the end of February. And the cool thing is you still wouldn't have a month where you have a mortgage payment and a rent payment due, because your first mortgage payment, if you close in February, isn't due until April 1st anyway. So you're going to be in a good spot. It was what we're saying. So that's why, like Jessica said, it's good to give yourself that buffer. And so let's just say, again, this is your timeline. Lease is up end of March. We're starting to look basically toward the end of December. When should you reach out to us? When should you say, hey, I need to meet with Rob. I need to talk with a lender. We need to get everything lined up. I think there's going to be two answers here. One, if you know your credit is absolutely perfect and there's not going to be an issue with your credit. Like, and when I say that, I don't mean you're like, you think, oh, it's pretty good, I've been working on it. I mean, you bought a car a few years ago and your credit score was 825 and you haven't done anything since. Like, your credit is absolutely perfect. I would say reach out to me around December 1st or right around now, if that's the case. Now, if you think there might be any hiccups, maybe you've had a job change, maybe your credit is kind of mid-range, or maybe you've got a lot of student loans or credit card debt or just other issues. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into buying a home. I would say it's really more of an ASAP, because in that instance, it's better to talk to a lender and see if there's something that we need to overcome.
And I would say that also, I mean, even if you're not sure, like if you are looking on Credit Karma or whatever, and it's saying that you have a 680 or a 700, that's really, I mean, there's a little flexibility with the number, your real number compared to what you're finding on the free sites online or even on your credit card app. So if you're not positive, like Rob said, if you haven't had someone officially pull your credit recently and you've seen the report, it's probably better to give yourself a little time in case there's something that needs to be adjusted.
Exactly. Well said. And so, so really, I would say ASAP for most people would be a good thing to do. I mean, that's not a bad thing to get out there and to talk with us at least, and make sure that your everything is lined up. Because one of the worst things that can happen, especially if you're renting in a market like Nashville, where, let's just face it, rental values are high. You pay a lot to rent a home in Middle Tennessee. That, one of the worst things that can happen is say your credit is so-so, but you're not sure, and you wait until this day or even this day to say, hey, let's talk, let's get connected with the lender. And then you find out, oh, I've got to pay this off, or I've got to do this before I can move forward. You're not going to hit this day. I mean, let's just face it, it's not going to happen. And so that's why ASAP is best. What does Michael Scott say? ASAP is possible.
Yes.
To get everything going. But this is the renting side. Let's say you own a home and you're thinking, hey, I want to buy a new home. Maybe you want to downsize. Maybe you want to get something larger. Your family's growing. So we're going to walk through the exact same scenario real quick and just say, like, maybe we'll start a little bit later in the year. Like, let's just say you want to move into your new home. I don't know. You say May. Like, and I won't put it exactly.
Like May 1st.
Yeah, let's just say you want to be in your new home on May 1st of 2021, right? Well, if that's the case, again, we're working backward, the same thing, so you can know what to expect. If you're to go under contract on your purchase, and we'll get to selling your home in a second, because when we're walking through this, we're assuming that you need to sell your home to buy your next home. Even if you don't necessarily have to, so many people would rather do that because they don't want to go through and have two mortgages, and which is understandable. So even if you can qualify for two, most people don't want to. And so let's just say, though, you want to be in your home in May. Again, we'll just say May 1st, but if it's May 31st, just add a little bit of time to it. It's probably going to take about 30 to 45 days to close on your purchase. Again, I mean, that's just the way the lending world is working right now. Appraisals are getting delayed. Lenders are getting backed up with low interest rates. So if we're saying 45 days, we need to find that house by basically March 15th. And now your home search, again, it's going to take, probably about, 2 to 3 weeks here. And the only reason I'm saying 2 to 3 weeks is we're building in a buffer, and we've been talking about homes for a little bit longer than probably this person has, because we're, as you'll see during the process here, we're going to be met a few steps ahead of the renter, because there's something that goes into it, and that's selling your home. So the 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to say we need to really be searching once your home goes under contract, which hopefully is going to be about 60 days before this. Is that making sense, Jessica, what I'm saying?
Yeah, so what you're saying is that we should start searching for a home 60 days before we want to move into one.
Well, really, when your home that you're selling pens. But I mean, the ideal day for that, if you're wanting to be in your home May 1st, is going to be about 60 days, before then. So meaning we're going to have your home under contract on March 1st, 2021. And the reason for that is that gives us a couple of weeks. Because again, this is building in a little bit of a buffer, that 45 days. Again, most lenders, and if you're working with us on your sale, you're likely working with us on your purchase, and we're going to be connecting you with one of our great lenders. And so our great lenders that we work with, and if you have proceeds from your sale, you might be a conventional buyer, or you're a stronger FHA buyer than THDA or USDA. And so hopefully this 45 days is really closer to like 30 in a pinch, is what I'm getting at. And so, but what I'm saying is we start searching when your home sale pens. Once we get your home under contract, that's when we start searching. And so we'd want to get your home under contract around March 1st. That gives us a couple of weeks buffer here before we kind of feel like we have to find a house. And in reality, I know I said March 15th here, it really could be around April 1st, 2021. And this could be 30 days, and that gives us time. So that gives us a good month of searching, a month of under contract to close, to make all the closing dates line up. In our current market, it's taken, gosh, what's taken us on average like 4 days to go under contract
Yeah,
on
it's
home.
very little. Now, I wouldn't bank on that for this timeline, just because, like we talked about before, having a little more time is always better than being, constrained. Because we don't want you to be in a place where, like, we don't want you to be forced into a home you don't love. And so the more time we can give, the more time you have in the process to get a good contract on your home, and to get a house that you really love.
So I'm going to put about 2 weeks that it's going to take to show your property to go under contract.
Yeah,
It's
because
probably not
even
going to
in a
take that long.
standard market, I'd say that that's a very safe timeline for our average.
Absolutely. More of a balanced market, or, a seller's kind of a, decently strong seller's market. 2 weeks, no, it shouldn't be an issue to go under contract. So we'd start showing the home around February 15th, expect to go under contract around March 15th. That on your sale, give us a good month to find you the right home. Again, we've been in communication at least since then, since probably before then. We're going to get to that in just a second. But, so a good 35, 45 plus days to, from when we started talking to when we find you the right home, more than enough time. And so in reality, if your goal is to be on the market by February 15th, in reality, you should be reaching out to us. I mean, if you don't want to feel like you're pressured and rushed, I'd say by January 15th. Give you time to, for us to get together, give you time for us to talk about the market, to get the plan in place. I would say as at a minimum February 1st, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, we're gonna have a professional photographer out. We're gonna have all the listing details put together. And before all of that happens, most people have a little bit that they want to do in the house, as far as, starting to pack, or, a million other things. And there's no limit to how early you can talk to us, right? It doesn't mean that you're taking action that day. It's just when you start making the plan. So I would say January 15th is really, that's a pretty short, like, if you're in a rush, then that would be the time. Yeah, so now is definitely always the time, because we can say, even if you want to list at the end of next year, and you just want to start the process of your end of it, we're happy to talk to anybody at any time and make
Well,
that
exactly.
plan.
Well, exactly, and that's what we're getting at with this one. So I mean, obviously, we picked a couple of dates toward the beginning of next year. End of winter into the beginning or middle of spring, and and basically what we're seeing, whether you're renting and looking to buy, that's about a 4-month process. If you own, and you're looking to buy, I mean, that's also about a 4-month process with our current market conditions. Now, that doesn't mean you have to wait until, all right, well, the kids are out of school at the end of May, and so we're going to wait. You said 4 months, I'm going to wait until the end of January. Doesn't mean you have to. Reach out to us now, because honestly, I mean, and never want to speculate about what the market's going to do, because we don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. And yet as we've talked about in a lot of these videos in the past, the trend line of what we were seeing going into this year was that the market was going to become a very balanced market. And so we were expecting to see the market transition into a balanced market, maybe even a buyer's market by this time in the end of 2020 or into 2021. And then coronavirus really stopped that from happening. It became a very, very strong seller's market this year. And as soon as something changes, as soon as, whether it's the coronavirus changing, maybe interest rates, jumping up back to where they used to be, those market conditions are going to change again. And it's not going to be the same condition as a seller. It's not going to be the same condition as a buyer. But we're in an advantageous time to sell a home and buy, and even to buy a home because of how low rates are.
Yep, 100%. I agree with all of it.
And so I know we've covered a lot today. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can comment on the live video if you're watching live, or if you see the recording. You can email us. Just hit reply if you got this message in your inbox, and we'd be happy to talk with you. You can also call us 615-591-5665. You can email us info at Foglia FOGLIA properties.com, and we'd be happy to connect with you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate y'all's time.